ba da 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 ba da 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 do 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 ba da 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 ba da 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 da. Whoa.
Thank you. Woo! Thank you. Oh no, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, welcome again to my show. I'm RetroGamer3, and today we're going to be talking about Sega again, only the very first Sega system to come out. This is the Sega Master System. Ooh. And let's talk about it and the history behind the Sega Master System. It came out in 1986, and it came out as a direct competition for Nintendo. It failed in certain areas, but it had strong points in some areas. It had wider availability in Europe, and it actually was a direct competitor in Europe for the Nintendo.
Sega challenges you with the ultimate video game, the Sega Master System.
Hang on!
With more accurate control, more detailed graphics, more levels of play.
Awesome!
The Sega Master System comes with power-based 2 control pads, light phaser, and 2 great video games, Hang On and Safari Hunt.
Gotcha!
And with other games like Rambo, Outrun, and Choplifter, the excitement never stops. The Sega Master System. The challenge will always be there.
Yes, Sega brought out the Master System to be direct competition for Nintendo. They were like, hey, Nintendo's got a good thing going on here, but they have no competition. Why should they corner the video game market? So we need a rivalry. Nintendo needs some competition, so that's why Sega came out with the Master System. That sounds a little bit familiar. Let's take a little bit closer look at the system. As you can see at the top here, we have a reset button and a pause button, which is kind of strange, you know what I mean? Considering it did come out after Nintendo, you'd think that they would want to copy them a little bit more by putting a select and start on controller, but we're going to get to the controller in a bit. But anyway, the pause button is on the machine. It's a top loader machine, which is way more reliable than a Nintendo version with their stupid in-drive and pushing it down. They're notoriously defective for that stupid idea. Should have never came along. And another unique thing about the system is when you turned it on, it had built-in games into the system. Now, I've never seen that on any other system before. You turned it on, and you automatically had Hang On, and you had Safari Hunt. They suck, I know. And then that stupid snail game running around the maze. They all suck, but the point is that they were built in. So imagine how cool it would be if you turned on your Nintendo and all of a sudden Super Mario was built in. Another thing is it has a slot on the front here, so you can fit in some little card-based games. They look like TurboGrafx-16 games. Now that didn't really catch on. There aren't very many of those made. So I don't really understand the method behind it. Maybe they wanted to make the games a little bit cheaper or something, but I swear there's only like 5 or 6 games. There's not that many games. They sort of abandoned that whole idea altogether. Okay, close up. Now we're going to look at the Sega Master System controller. This little puppy is hard to get, and it is expensive on eBay. I've been waiting forever to get a couple of these. Finally got a couple of them. Don't want to tell you how much I paid for them, but anyway, these are them. Why they do not have a select and start button on them like the Nintendo controller, totally beyond me. I do not know why they did that, but there are improvements over the Nintendo one. The Nintendo one is sharper, and the buttons are sharper, and the D-pad is way stiffer. It's a real stiff controller to use, where the Master System controller is very soft. Very comfortable. You could use this one for way longer than the Nintendo controller and not get thumb fatigue, if you know what I mean. And that is pretty much it. It's a pricey item, but it completes my system now, and it is great. It's got 1 and 2 button on it, and the button 1, I believe it is, says start. It's the start button. But every single game that I've played, you can start the game with button 2, and even some instances, you can't start the game with the start button, but you can start it with the number 2 button. So go figure on that one, programmers, you know what I mean? So that's the Sega Master System controller. now we're going to talk about some of the Sega Master System games. I'm just going to lean over here and do picture in a picture. And this is Master of Darkness, one of the better and one of the more rare titles on the system. The graphics are great. It's more of like a Castlevania type game, that's why I like it. You grab different weapons, you jump over obstacles, and it's got a scary, like, darkness kind of feel to it, hence the name. The sound and music aren't that bad for the system, considering that the Sega Master System sound chip sucks monkey balls compared to the Nintendo one. It's mostly bleeps and tweaks and beep 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 boop boop beep doop boop doop boop 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 boop. Another one is Kenseiden or Kenseiden. I don't know how to pronounce it, something like that. I was pleasantly surprised with this game. Again, another jumping platformer. You're a samurai of some kind with a sword, and it was pretty decent. You know what I mean? I didn't find anything wrong with that. Time Soldiers is another good one. It's just like the arcade, pretty much, if you like the arcade Time Soldiers. And I don't think you can get Time Soldiers on any other system. I think it only came out on the Master System as far as I remember. But the number one game, of course, on the system, right here. This is Phantasy Star. If you haven't heard of it, if you've been living under a rock your whole frickin' life, wake up and take the wax out of your ears, okay? I'm educating you here. This is one of the best RPGs of all time. It totally surpassed anything Nintendo could do, or ever could do. Nintendo couldn't even replicate this game. And I have it in the box, mint condition. Oh, wait a minute, we're opening it with the instruction manual. Ooh. Yeah, a major collector's item. You gotta have the instruction manual for this game, because inside the instruction manual is very useful information that you can't even find in the game itself. And so it's a must-have if you have the game, or if you're a collector like me, you gotta have it. But other than that, Nintendo could not touch this game. Nor could Nintendo ever touch it, I don't think. The closest thing you could get to it was like Dragon Warrior, and it is way far inferior compared to this game. I mean, the enemies were all animated. You could see your guys attack on screen. You could control 4 players at the same time. You could save 5 games at the same time. It's unbelievable. 3D dungeons that are, they're 8-bit, but they even rival even things that 16-bit can't even do. So you can't say enough good things about Phantasy Star. Me and my cousins, we bought the Sega Master System just for this game. They're like, if you play Phantasy Star, you can only play it on Sega Master System. You gotta play Phantasy Star. Oh my god, it's so good. Guys are freaking awesome for watching me, and I'm going to be coming out with some great new videos I am working on. I'm going to be doing my Super Nintendo review, my top 5 Super Nintendo games. You don't want to miss that one. I also have another crappy review of a shitty game coming up that's not on a Nintendo or a Sega system, so we'll leave you guessing on that one. And I also have my Street Fighter 4 video coming out. I'm going to give you a first glimpse and first play review of Street Fighter 4. Totally overhyped video game of all time, probably. And that's it, so thank you again very much for watching. I'm RetroGamer3, and I am out.